Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hypecast mit Tom Reimann und David Bell.
Hey everyone,
Hello.
Hi.
welcome to another episode of Hypecast!
Hypecast.
Hype.
Sure, we get hyped about stuff.
And things.
Stuff and things. I'm your co-host, Tom Ryman.
I'm your other co-host, David Bell.
And who the hell are you?
I'm a guy, Robert Evans. I'm here on your thing to talk about hype and casts.
Nice. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Robert. Robert and I just watched all the trailers we're talking about today.
Hey, we watched them in the right order because I went
think so.
from not caring at all to being super stoked.
Right.
Which is a fun way to go for once.
Right, it's a real gradient of hype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never thought we were required to be hyped on the Hypecast, to be honest.
That's going to help because
No.
that Marvel thing looks fucking insufferable.
Well,
You're not a fan of Marvel at all.
I was.
Oh, okay.
About a decade ago.
Sure.
I caught them all and I liked them, and I don't know, sometime around Guardians of the Galaxy, which I liked, I stopped being able to watch new ones and be into them.
You got that fatigue. You got that Marvel fatigue.
Real bad. I just don't want them anymore. And this one looks fine, but
sure, and that's a perfect segue to the first trailer we're talking about, which is, of course, the Captain Marvel trailer, which dropped this week.
Everybody's all up on it. There's a lot of good and bad takes. I was talking to Starlene Hodge, who has been on this. She was talking about someone on Twitter, some graphic artist or something, apparently recut or redid the trailer to make her smiling. It was not satire. Like it was him
no.
Yeah, it was like, isn't it better that she's smiling?
No.
He took images from it and used this corrective stuff to make her smile in all the shots. So
that would have been an amazing Reductress article.
Oh,
well,
that would have.
in response on the Brie Larson's Instagram, she did a series of previous Marvel movies with that same thing done. So like Captain America smiling on the Winter Soldier poster. And, like just everyone coyly smiling.
Right. There was also that Guardian article about her punching an old lady in the trailer.
I didn't see that one.
Okay, it wasn't that. Here's the thing. She punches an old lady in the trailer and it's jarring and doesn't make sense. Obviously, like I'm smart enough to know like, okay, that's probably not an old lady.
It's a monster.
It's a monster.
It's a good
Right,
guy
But
hidden
in
as
the
an old
trailer,
lady.
it's like shown as a heroic moment and she just decks this old lady.
Rushes this
And then
lady.
the trailer just keeps going as if that didn't just happen.
It was a weird decision. I mean, they knew why they put that in there because they knew this would happen, where everybody was like, she just fucking rocked that old lady right in the goddamn face.
That might be a reason to be hopeful, which is like if it's just a super dark movie that doesn't acknowledge it, like if she's a monster, but it's treated like a heroic movie, but she's actually just abusing old people and children, but like with the music of a Marvel movie and like that would be a lot of fun.
You're partially kidding, but that would be like a really interesting movie to do like a Marvel style movie that goes for all the Marvel beats, except it's a supervillain and they just don't realize they're a supervillain.
And they're just doing the worst things.
Right.
Yeah.
Like robbing banks, nuking orphanages.
I do like just punching old women and then keep saying like they're not really old women, they're monsters, and it sort of just ends with the police showing up and dragging this person off.
Right.
And like, no, they were old women.
No, they're all old women and you powdered all of their jawbones. Just absolutely turned them to dust.
Oh man.
No, the main Captain Marvel is part of the cosmic area of Marvel Comics. So she's like kind of a space cop.
Okay.
They should have called it Space Cop.
They should have
They
called it
should have.
Space
Nothing
Cop.
has used that title.
Yeah.
So the main alien race that they're fighting in this movie is the Skrulls, and the Skrulls are shapeshifters.
Got it.
So
Okay.
that's a Skrull she's punching almost certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I wish it was
right.
just a normal old lady. That would be a really
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah, if she's just trying to get rid of all the old people, if that's Captain Marvel,
She's
Yeah.
very
realizes,
ageist.
like, there's going to be a real problem voting-wise in a couple of decades if I don't take care of these elderly folks.
That's a good call, because I was going to
Yeah.
say it's just Logan's Run, but then no, she's seen into the future.
yeah, she's
and
yeah, exactly.
she saw the 2016 election and it's like, I got to take this out right now. I got to take care of this in 1996.
Just her murdering old people for 95 minutes.
Got to clean out the baby boomers.
One of you tell me when you see that if it's old people genocide propaganda, because
Okay.
then I will watch it and be excited.
That's fair.
Well, I mean, now that's our movie to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the movie we make.
Fuck the olds.
Mhm.
Universal Studios Productions.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck the olds.
Fuck the olds. What's the next trailer?
Is The Haunting of Hill House.
Okay. The trailer, I'm excited about the show. The trailer, I'm not excited
There's a
about.
show
Okay.
and a trailer
Well,
about
it
the
is.
same thing?
It is a show.
Yeah, it's a show.
Okay.
It's a
okay,
Netflix
yeah, that's what
series.
Here's.
thought,
I
yeah.
liked the weird. I had a dream thing. I thought that was kind of neat, because I hadn't seen that before.
Where it's just
Where
this.
it's like I had a dream of my future,
and
and
it's an
not good.
insanely detailed.
Yeah.
like
It wasn't creepy. I'm conflicted because it's Mike Flanagan, who's directing all the episodes and created it, and he made Hush and Oculus and Gerald's Game, which are all very decent horror.
they're all really good
films.
horror movies, and he also did Ouija, right? Oh no,
The
that's Adam
second-
Wing.
He did the second Ouija,
Okay,
which
Is it Ouija or Ouija?
it's Ouija if
It's-
you're an American that's
Yeah.
not a dork. I don't know.
Wow.
oh, shots fired.
Shots fucking fired.
I don't know. It's like I don't know. I mean, everybody just says Ouija. It's just like, well, I used to work at Panera, and when people would come in and ask for a croissant, I would be like, "Get the fuck out!
Get out of my country.
You're not
unless
you're
you're
not
Fraser Crane.
you're not impressing anyone." At the Panera Bread on 21st Street in Ghent. You jerk. No,
guess-
I legit don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced.
But I guess my question is, because I like that director and stuff, but have you guys ever seen a TV show that was scary?
Oh,
I mean, the X-Files used to scare me when I was
yeah,
a
there were
kid.
some scary moments in the
Yeah,
X-Files.
if you're like a dumb kid, then yes, a lot of things will scare children. I watch the X-Files now, as I've been noting on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I don't find it. There's been a couple parts where I'm like, oh yeah, that is freaky. Like still,
the
but,
moths one.
the what?
The moths, or they're not. I guess they're not moths, but like the bug things that suck your blood out. and
Darkness
stuff.
Falls. That episode, yeah.
that one is still.
That's a decent
creepy.
one.
Yeah,
That's a
that's still
creepy
pretty
episode.
creepy.
Yeah.
Squeeze, I think, is still kind of
Squeeze
creepy.
is still
Which
kind of
one's that?
creepy.
Tombs, the
I
guy
guess
can stretch himself
What
out.
I'm saying
Oh,
is though,
yeah.
like deeply unsettling horror movie, like American Horror Story. What I thought was going to be great about that. What I thought.
American Horror Story is ridiculous.
Yes, I thought that was going to be like, they're going to try to scare me. They're
Nope.
going to actually, no, it's a soap opera.
It's a soap opera that tries each season to get away to see how much truly graphic violence they can get
Yeah,
away
my
with on
sis-
cable television.
My sister hate watches it, and I get texts all
it's
the time of
so
her just describing
bad. Oh man,
I haven't even but I can see why it'd be impossible to have good horror in like a TV show, because you can't, like a horror movie, so much of it is like, pretty much everybody's gonna die, and like it has all this build up, and like if it's just another episode of a scary show, like we gotta get back to everybody hanging around next week. Like,
Right.
yeah, it's
That's what
hard. It's hard to create and preserve tension, I think.
Yeah.
I think anthologies help, because I just finished Castle Rock, and that didn't creep me out either, but at least it's an anthology, so it's like it can conclude.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, it looks dumb. The House on Hill,
Yeah.
Hill,
Haunting of Hill House.
Haunting of Hill House.
It's a Shirley Jackson novel.
Yeah.
I don't know who Shirley Jackson
She
is.
wrote The Lottery. Remember that story?
Oh, she's great then. She
Yeah.
wrote the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fucking great short story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good.
So this could be very good if the trailer is just
Shit.
not
Well, that actually
representing-
changes my opinion of it.
I mean, I'm assuming it's like a limited series. Like,
Yeah.
sort of like Sharp Objects, where it's going to be like, okay, it's a mini series. It's going to be, we're going to tell the story of this novel, and then it's going to be done.
That I hope so, because if
Hopefully.
they go into season 2, that's when it's gonna fall apart.
Oh yeah,
I do feel like they missed out on how to use Shirley. I mean, maybe this was her idea, and this is the story she wanted, but she seems like more of like a Black Mirror type. Like, I'm going to do creepy social commentary stories. That
Right.
I don't, from the trailer at least, I don't see what social commentary this. Don't move into this house.
No
Yeah.
idea. I do like the idea of, and I've not read the book, so I have no idea if this is what the story of the book is, because there's been so many versions of this book. Like the film The Haunting is also based on,
And the
Haunting
remake.
of Hill
a
House?
real house that had some ghost thing going on.
I don't think so.
I don't think
Why?
so.
How is there? How are? Okay.
It might be, but whatever the original story would be extremely lame, probably.
Maybe.
No, there's the original The Haunting film, which I watched recently, and that's still creepy. The 1960.
I've not seen that
Haunting?
one.
Oh, it's way better than the Liam Neeson, Owen Wilson remake.
The Jan de Bont movie.
Yeah, the original is like, because it's a lot more psychological. They don't have CGI,
Right.
and so it's just
To make
noises and people going
the
crazy.
fucking staircase attack you.
Yeah, and then the remake of The Haunting, which everybody should see, just not for the reason that it's good. It's just a stupid CGI movie.
It's a very
but
dumb CGI movie.
That was a terrible remake.
That was a terrible trailer.
Yeah, this one that we just watched.
Yeah.
Yes,
Uh,
I did not like that.
I like the idea of looking at a family as kids and then coming back to them as adults, you know, with the pretense that they all grew up in a haunted house and seeing what the hell that's done to their lives.
Right.
I hate the fact that it has the slow piano
Yeah. Oh
Uh,
yeah, I was watching.
cover of Our House.
I was watching you guys watch the trailer because I had seen it already, so I was
I didn't
just
even
listening
catch
to
that.
it,
Mhm.
and the music is insufferable just on its own. I was.
Well, it's
starting to get
because
very
it's a
sick of it.
piano. It's a slow piano cover, which has already been done to death. It's a
Yeah.
slow piano cover of one of the most truly irritating pop songs of the '80s.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is way out of place.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
man.
pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know why you would do that.
I would kind of like to see a horror movie where, like, you got like the slow build of like a woman alone on a train, and then like a waitress getting off the work and like heading for the train, and like a guy following her, and then you hear, "I was working as a waitress in a cocktail bar." Just like the slow piano build, and then, but it's like a slasher movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what song is that?
Don't you want me? I was,
Oh, God.
You know the song. Everybody knows that song.
We need to start. Yeah, we
Yeah.
need to start doing slow.
Don't
Terrifying
you want
covers.
me, baby?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, of course. But you
Yeah,
do it
but like
slow,
the worst
and
ones.
people
Yeah.
are getting murdered.
There should have been more. Manson should have just done more of that in the 90s
Mhm.
after he did Sweet Dreams. He should have just kept doing like disco songs.
Yeah, well, yeah. Eurythmics aren't disco, but sure.
Whatever.
I don't know. What
I don't know
rhythms
music.
are. Yeah,
Annie Lennox, the original Sweet Dreams.
are made of these.
No, not disco, but you know, like
It's synth
synthy.
pop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually creepier, the original, than the Manson version.
Kind of, yeah. Like the Manson one is trying too hard.
Yes.
That is a problem.
Remember when he did
had
Tainted
throughout his
Love?
life.
Manson
Was
did a
that
cover
him
of
that did Tainted Love? Oh, that's too bad.
It was too bad. Speaking of, I don't know, taint. No, that doesn't work.
Yeah,
as a
Speaking of
segue.
taints,
Yeah, let's talk
speaking
about
of
taints.
taints,
The Mary Poppins Returns trailer, the full trailer is out.
yeah,
That was whiplash, and learning that because I learned that movie was about to exist just now.
Yeah.
on this podcast.
yes,
And my immediate emotion was like despair. Which is like, this is surely the bare bottom of the idea barrel.
right.
Yes.
And then
We're scraping up splinters right now.
yeah, like you've gotten through the bottom of it. And
Yeah.
and then watching it, it looks like it might be delightful.
It looks
Yeah.
kind of
It
delightful.
looks
yeah.
like they made all of the right choices that I didn't think could be made in this movie.
When she uses her demon powers to go into
right.
the cartoon world.
Yeah.
I was delighted that it was in fact a drawn 2D cartoon
Yeah.
world
It
and
was
not
wonderful.
Pixar world.
Yeah.
in like the style of animation of that time, like
Yeah.
the 50s, 60s,
I
real,
wish-
real hard lines
Yeah.
that they used in like Robin Hood, and you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It was
Um,
good. Yeah, it looked right.
also, you went over real quickly a big revelation that we had watching this trailer, which is that Mary Poppins is clearly a demon.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure.
She's an
Well,
ageless demon.
yeah.
The sight of her like descending from the fog is
Right.
terrifying.
Yeah.
And it's always been terrifying.
And like you got them like, you haven't aged.
You've seen the fan recut of Mary Poppins where they make a horror movie trailer of
Yeah.
it.
Very
It's
easy.
wonderful. It's extremely
I've not seen that one.
Oh, it's because it's so easy. There's the part where she like leaves a mirror and her
Yeah.
reflection is still there. And
Yeah.
It's like that's terrifying.
That's creepy.
Yeah, that's
Some Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula shit.
Yeah.
And with any luck, this movie will be she's God and she's about to burn London to the ground and turn it into a pillar of salt, and she's only rescuing this family that she took care of.
Because that is about to happen in the timeline of history.
Is it
this
about?
film
I
is
thought this was be post World War One.
It's in between the first one takes place in between World War One and Two.
Oh, does
and
it?
We
I
made,
thought that was pre World War One.
I keep saying we cracked. There was a cracked article that made that point where it's like these kids are going to have a seriously dark adulthood because they're going to grow up into the fucking bombing range.
They're going to be sent to war.
Yeah. Or if they happen to not be eligible for service, they're going to get the fucking shit bombed out of them by some goddamn Germans.
Right.
Man, what if Mary Poppins is God and Germany was her holy instrument for vengeance on a sinful London, and she's coming back to rescue the only righteous people? I mean, what if this movie takes a hard Nazi turn and Disney just like barrels headfirst into it?
Right, they reclassify World War II as the Crusades.
Yeah. They're really just trying
Disney
to
is just like, fuck it, we're with the Nazis now.
No, 90 years too late, but fuck it. Disney's back in the winning team.
They make some announcement. Disney's happy to be in the business of Nazis. Got a Nazi swinging lightsabers and
Right, they just drag out Walt's head, animated head now.
Yeah.
What I've always wanted.
It did make me unreasonably happy to see Dick Van Dyke in this.
Yes, and
he looks great.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing the same character. Well, all right, in the original, and people tend to forget this because he plays the chimney sweep guy, but then he also plays the old man who I feel like most people, when you remember Mary Poppins, you forget that there's like that old rich guy who's I think running a bank or something.
No, I always remember the scene because that joke confounded me as a kid. I couldn't understand it.
I don't remember this scene at all.
It's the scene where they make them all giddy and fly, right?
I think so.
And like he tells the old guy a joke that just busts him up, and it's like, I once knew a man with a wooden leg named Phil or something, and then the response to his, what was the name of his other one? That's you get that joke.
I get that joke.
As a kid, I didn't. Like, that joke confused the shit out of me. And like my parents couldn't explain it to me because it's so literal. It's just like, well, that's like that's the joke, you stupid bastard.
That's wonderful.
Oh,
but yeah, Dick Van Dyke plays that old man character, but without
my parents
the
had
old man
extensive
makeup.
DNA testing done on me after that to make sure that they didn't take the wrong kid home.
I'm sort of shocked and disturbed right now that I have no recollection of that scene from the movie. And
Well,
now
no,
I'm wondering
I don't
what
think-
else I've forgotten
I
from Poppins lore.
Probably
I
a lot.
rewatched it recently, and it's one of those movies where like the farther to the end I get, because I watched it all the time as a kid.
Yeah.
And when you watch movies as a kid, you tend kids don't finish movies all
You're
the time.
right.
You run away, you fuck off and go, I'm
Yeah.
Mary Poppins, and
Yeah.
run and play. So
Now
like,
I'm the demon.
Yeah. So as it got closer to the end when I was watching, I was like, I don't remember this shit at all. And like that old man is, I think more of him is near the end,
That scene is toward the end. That I just described, yeah.
but it's Dick Van Dyke in old man makeup.
He has aged really well for
Pretty
a guy
well.
who has to be like 140.
Yeah, I know he's
Well,
like
he
in
was
his
like
90s.
99 years old and when Diagnosis Murder came on television, and that's been like 30 years.
And he's like, he's dancing in this trailer, and it's like, oh no,
He
don't
may
do
be
that.
the real demon.
Right.
Dick Van Dyke just guzzling down the blood of 12-year-olds.
Yeah,
Just
I mean-
gallons of it a day.
That's why Poppins comes to us disguised as a nanny.
Yeah, it's
Gotta drink those children.
Bring their blood to Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah.
it all comes together.
I'm delighting over Lin-Manuel's quasi Cockney accent because you gotta do the weird Dick Van
Right.
Dyke voice of that.
Is
same
he
character.
playing that character? I can't
No, he
tell.
can't be. But like,
No, because that character died of the black lung.
Oh right,
20 years
Oh right,
ago.
because that
'Cause the
character
kids-
would have aged.
right?
Yeah,
the kids
yeah.
are all over. So he's just another.
Forgot that he's not
No,
magical.
you get
Charming
Hold on.
chimney
years
sweep.
as a chimney sweep.
Because the Dick Van Dyke character in the original knew Mary Poppins, and at least I remember that they were like getting it on, like they had a history.
So what may be the case here is maybe Dick Van Dyke is playing the older version of his character, who is now that old guy, because they seem to have the same relationship,
Oh,
right?
Because that old guy would have aged.
Yeah, from the last time Mary Poppins was prowling
Right.
around London drinking its children.
Because all right, this it's a hook scenario.
Yeah.
It's a
It's
hook scenario where
that's
she's
right.
coming back and the adults are no fun.
Yeah.
The kids. That's gotta be how many years? Because they don't look that old much. They don't look like that old. The adults, so it's
No,
gotta be
they're
like
like early middle age,
Yeah.
30s or so.
So it's like 20 years later.
Yeah.
So okay, I'm trying to think of if the old man, if Dick Van Dyke's just playing the even older version of that old man.
Maybe,
No,
yeah.
because any chimney sweep would have been dead 3 or 4 years from that point.
Well, no,
Come on,
the old
you-
man though.
You're gonna die.
I'm thinking for the chimney sweep. I think he was sleeping with Mary Poppins because they knew each other.
Mhm.
He knew this demon casually,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I think what if his soul goes in, to the new guy,
Maybe.
Like-
What?
The new guy is Lin-Manuel.
Lin-Manuel. Yeah,
Okay.
like I think what if like that's the deal he made with her? Like maybe
Right, that
he's
was
playing
his
the same character,
Faustian bargain.
but as Dick Van Dyke gets older, Mary Poppins just transfers his. It's a Get Out situation.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that makes sense. Well, I'm excited for the Poppins movie.
Yeah, it looks fine. It looks charming.
Yeah.
What's the next
speaking
trailer?
Of Get Out. The
Oh,
next
yeah.
trailer is the Twilight Zone. Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone.
Now, is this not? I'm not in the industry, but is this not a teaser rather than a trailer?
It is a teaser.
It's
yeah.
a teaser. It's practically a
'Cause I
teaser
feel
for the
teased.
teaser.
I feel
Yeah.
teased. Yeah.
It's just the opening.
Yeah, it's cool though. It starts
Sequence.
with the original Rod Serling narration, and then gradually Jordan Peele narrating the same words bleeds in, and then you see a brief shot of him walking toward camera in a suit like Rod Serling. So he's going to be. This trailer is confirming that he's going to be the Rod Serling
Yeah.
of the new series.
I also like that we saw the same imagery of the opening credits, but like done modern, like CGI. Like the eyeball was like clearly a CG eyeball.
Yeah,
Something about that, because I thinking about the original Twilight Zone, that seems like that show. When they were making that show, I feel like they were fantasizing about CGI. Like I feel like that show needed CGI all the way back then.
They do a lot of like photo tricks.
Yeah, they do. And I feel like it's fine. It's like cool to see it updated because it feels like this is what they imagined when they were doing all that shit.
Yeah. It's what I take this teaser as is someone in Hollywood knew that his company made a good decision, which is cast Jordan Peele to be the host of a Twilight Zone show.
I think he's also writing it, or he's just basically the
He's the
showrunner.
producer, yeah.
Just say you're the Twilight Zone now and walk away. Give him $4 million.
Yeah.
And you'll get some stuff. Like this trailer is them being like, we did a smart one.
Yeah.
we made a good
decision.
Yeah.
The biggest bummer about it, or the only bummer about it, is that it's going to be on the CBS All Access streaming service
Yeah.
that they stuck Star Trek on, which luckily Star Trek was garbage, so I don't feel obligated to
It
do
is
that.
hot trash, hot
But-
space debris.
No, but what I love in Star Trek is murder.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
what made the last show so good.
Right.
Is the murder. Okay.
all of that
That
action
needs
and
to
all
be-
the action and explosions is why we loved Star Trek.
Yeah.
Picard was cool because of murder, not because he had long conversations about the nature of morality.
Are you excited about the new Picard show where he will surely murder?
I'm terrified. I
I'm so
legitimately,
terrified.
like, I watched Red Letter Media's pitch as to what they wanted.
That
which
was
is-
so good.
That's the only thing I want now is old Picard takes over, by mistake, winds up in like an old ship and it can't do very well and it's stuck in this weird
Yeah.
thing. So it's just traveling slowly and you get a dozen fun adventures and then a conclusion of a season arc. And like, oh my God, that would be so good.
It would be so good. If anybody hasn't watched it, Red Letter Media put out their pitch, their very nerdy pitch for what they think the Picard show should
And it's
be.
perfect.
And it's called Star Trek Galaxy, and it's like I want a fan petition or something to
Yeah.
be like, hey, make that,
Just do that.
just do that,
Just do that.
because it's like a perfect like tribute to what a TNG like old school Star
Yeah.
Trek
Which is
Picard series could be.
I would be so happy if there's not a single space battle, or if there's one that gets cut really short at
Yeah.
the start that launches the so the ship can be damaged or whatever.
Yeah.
and can't do something.
I can see a couple, like TNG had a couple space battles, but like it was never,
No, we've got plenty of space battles on TV. Nobody's quietly talking out their problems.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I want it
Let's
to be
have
like
that.
Twilight.
The
Zone. I
original
want
Star
Twilight Zone.
Trek includes, I think, 3 different times where Captain Kirk convinces a robot to kill itself. by presenting it with a paradox that it can't resolve.
I like to think that he had a little check marks or something in his journal of like, oh, that's the third one.
But just, like real surreal morality plays, like social commentary disguised with science fiction.
Yeah.
The whole thing Star Trek was for 20 some years.
Yes.
Yeah.
They should have Jordan Peele do.
Right. It would be as jarring as turning Twilight Zone into like a military shooter.
Yeah.
Which
they might. I don't know.
I don't think they will.
No,
for this. I think they saw Black Mirror and they're like, hey, we have a property that's like.
They saw Black Mirror and they saw Get Out and you're like, oh, that's a Twilight Zone.
Yeah, exactly.
Get over here.
Do the Twilight Zone now, son.
Yeah. Next trailer is Mooch.
The Anthony Scaramucci documentary.
Yeah, which is already not relevant.
It was not relevant. One day after his 10 days.
Here's my hope. My hope is that this will go to theaters for exactly 10 days.
Yeah.
No, I don't want it to get that long.
That's almost too long. You're making a documentary about events that happened 18 months ago.
Yeah. We've talked about this before, is that whenever they do this...
What new perspective are you presenting to what new generation that doesn't like? There is no reason.
No, it's for all the people who weren't born 18 months ago.
Right?
Need
Okay,
to remember.
It's like a documentary for babies.
Yeah. BBFB, Buy Babies for Babies.
Yeah. Every year, someone does something that makes retroactively the Bush administration's plan for the occupation of Iraq look less dumb.
Yeah.
And this is the thing this month that makes that look less
makes
dumb.
it look more reasoned and thought out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, compared to the Mooch documentary, they really had their ducks in a row.
Oh my God, what fucking trash.
All I want from this is for this to be something that 19 months from now, Dave during lunch says, when the Scaramucci documentary came out, they only made $130.
Yeah.
That's what I want from the rest of this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And all $130 of that money will be the Mooch himself buying people tickets to go see it.
Why are they doing this? This is remember the Anthony Weiner documentary called Weiner?
No, they did
it was the exact same thing as this. It was called Weiner, and it was them trying to quickly profit. I think what happens. Here's my guess: is that randomly, because with the Anthony Weiner one, it was like there was a documentary crew that had been following him for a while.
Sure.
And I think what happened is that when the dust cleared, they're like, well, we still have all this footage. Do we want to do this or not? And it's like, well, all we have to do is hire an editor. Let's just fucking do it.
Yeah, the costs are already sunk.
Yeah, and I feel like that might be with Mooch, where they're like, this is our guy to get us into the Trump administration. Like, let's follow him. Then we can get...
he's fired.
And then it was just like, oh, he's fired. What do we do?
Get the mics.
No, let's make it about him. Like, I think it's probably just a failed documentary that they desperately had to recut to be something.
Why else make a documentary about one of the least important political figures
of any time
who had zero impact? He was not there long enough to have any impact.
Also, I don't know if he had business cards.
The thing is that there's nothing wrong with doing, because like one of my favorite documentaries is American Movie, which is about a failure of a filmmaker, but they're charismatic. He is not charismatic. That's the other part, is like doing this documentary, there has to be something we would learn about him. Like we would want to like him at the end or something.
No, he's that guy who seems like he should have been on the Jersey Shore, but was instead in the White House, and then that mistake was quickly corrected.
Yeah.
And it was like less like, that's the thing. There's no twist. There's no like, but he secretly has a heart of gold. It's just like,
he's exactly the guy you think he is.
And it reminds me of narrative wise of the Onion article, man with dream to open liquor store achieves dream. It's sort of that. It's just like, this guy is no good for politics, is fired from politics.
Yeah.
End of story.
And it's one of those things that is less funny now, that because when it's happened, it was funny because there were children in cages. And now that we've had our children in cages point, it's just like, yeah, this is one of the things that happened before the cages.
Exactly.
Right.
That's it's like he's just, oh God, he's a fucking footnote.
Right.
Yeah.
On this.
He's a footnote in the broader story about the U.S.'s crime
story.
against humanity.
Yeah.
It's a footnote against a story nobody is laughing about anymore.
Yeah,
right.
Other than like in the same way you laugh when you almost get shot or in a car accident and you're just like, We're like that kind of laugh we get a lot.
Right.
But
The only relevance that this story has is when you include it in the statement, because what was he, press secretary?
Yeah.
No, not he. Well, he had a job, in the
communications
press part.
director, or something like that.
Something like that.
The only reason that's relevant would be to point out when, there's a documentary made about the eventual Hague trial for the Trump administration,
Yeah.
would be to point out, they had 5 different people in this position in the first 3 months. This guy was only there for 10 days, just to point out what a fucking shit show
Yeah.
this hideous crime government was.
Yeah, there's nothing. He's. I guess you could say comparatively, his 10 or so days in office were the Camelot of the Trump administration.
Sure.
But other than that,
Otherwise, you make this movie 40 years from now when people have forgotten him.
Yeah. When
And then be like, hey, this fucking crazy weird guy was a part of this monstrous regime for 10 days.
if they did like a documentary about like some crazy aide to Nixon right now, that had like a weird fucking story,
like
I'd be
some
okay.
former game show host who fucking fast talked his way into the Nixon administration and was there for a week and a half.
Yeah.
but even then, I'm still just going to be thinking about, but Dick Nixon was so drunk, his Secretary of Defense told the Joint Chiefs not to launch any missiles he asked. That's how drunk the president was at this moment, and I'm not watching the president. And it's the only thing I care about.
Right.
Is drunk Richard Nixon with his hand on the fucking button.
We got a bomb someone.
Oh, boy.
It's my Nixon. I don't think
Nice.
I've ever done a Nixon before.
That was pretty good
really-
for.
Like, it's one of those things, The West Wing, watching The West Wing now in light of 2018 is depressing, but watching anything related to Nixon is uplifting because you're like, this was actually worse.
Yeah.
Like, at least the president's not hammered in the middle of the Cold War. Like,
Right.
He's
That is true. That is a good point.
At Jesus Christ.
Oh, boy.
Speaking of boys, our next trailer is
nice.
Beautiful Boy.
There needs to be a Jonathan H. Segway Award for segues, because I would nominate that moment right there.
Jonathan-
Which I've ruined by talking about the Jonathan
That's fair.
H.
That's the
Segway
best
Award.
segues are the ones that you then ruin.
Right. Named after famed inventor of the Segway personal mobility device,
Right.
Jonathan H. Segway.
Yeah, Jonathan H.
Yeah.
Segway.
Yeah.
Anyway, the boy.
Beautiful Boy.
Beautiful boy.
Beautiful boy.
You know
about
this is serious.
Steve Carell. It's serious
serious
because
'cause he
Steve
has
Carell
a
has a
beard.
beard.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what, Steve Carell? Get back into being Michael Scott. We have tried you out as other things. We have politely declined.
We talked about this last week with Ganser. Foxcatcher is actually really good.
Did you see Fox?
Did you see Fox-
Yeah,
Foxcatcher?
it was a really good portrayal of a story that I did not care to know about.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think Steve Carell has potential, but I think it's weird that when he started doing serious stuff, I thought like, he's going to explode. Like it's going to be like Jim Carrey or something like that. I guess Jim Carrey hasn't really done much.
He
either.
had his couple of years.
But Jim Carrey had that
Yeah.
time where it was like, oh my God, he's appearing in all this shit. Like Steve Carell, I haven't. Yeah, like Foxcatcher was really good. Like I think he's talented, but maybe he's not making the right decisions.
Right, because this movie it's about
It is
it's
a
apparently
mistake.
yeah, it's based on some true memoirs of a father and son. It's about an affluent family in San Francisco and their
Really rich family in
right,
San
and their son is
Francisco.
dealing with an opioid addiction, and it's just such a melodramatic, pandering trailer. Like all of the emotional beats. It's like a parody you make
Yeah,
of an Oscar bait movie.
The reason that it's so fucking insufferable is because, like, it is clearly portraying, like, obviously, rich families struggle with drug addiction.
Of
too.
course.
I have known some of
Ease
them.
of access makes it a huge
If
problem.
any person who is going to be watching this knows someone struggling with an addiction who has no financial resources, and thus this movie's going to be like, okay, well, your 18-year-old had a drug problem for a year, and you dealt with it.
Right.
You
And
took
also,
him. You took him to counseling and
Yeah.
on surfing trips and on hiking trips.
Isn't
Like, have
lack
you
of
glanced at the
resources?
news?
Yeah, isn't lack of resources like kind of directly related too?
Yes.
Is that these people get addicted to opiates because they don't really have good health care or they don't have a support system, and they end up. Was that me?
It was
Was my phone?
goddamn
just
monster.
made noise?
Fucking ruin this podcast.
Doesn't matter. But and then they move on to heroin after that, and then
Yeah.
they fucking die. And it's like it's sort of
I mean,
way more relevant if this was a story about someone who could.
Well, I mean, I can see the specific problem of being in a wealthy family where it's like where getting your prescriptions is very easy
Right.
comparatively,
But
and you just have a lot in the house all the time.
That's
Like,
still a minor fucking.
sure,
Well, I would.
sure.
Here's.
I'm just
I would
not.
ramp
I'm
that
just
up.
not like saying it's completely
Right.
No, I would
ridiculous.
say if
But
you want to do a movie, if you want to do an Oscar bait movie about the opiate addiction, it's a fine subject. Have Steve Carell be a dad who's getting 3 shifts a week at a steel mill that's
Mhm.
barely open anymore, and his fucking son gets addicted to smack.
Right.
Like, that's a movie that's
Right.
got some emotional weight.
I'd
to
say
it.
or go extreme the other way and do like a celebrity who's just surrounded by yes men who's like in this insane insulated bubble,
Sure.
and it's like this nightmare scenario where it's like you don't feel that bad for the person because they're rich and famous, but like it could almost be more comedic or
Get a
more.
Well-
fucking- yeah.
you're describing Get Him to the Greek.
Oh yeah, get him to the Greek.
Like,
Yeah,
I
just
haven't
do get
seen
him to
that
the
one.
Greek.
I do want to.
You haven't seen Get Him to the Greek?
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
See, the fucking Mooch documentary I want is a documentary about fucking Johnny Depp right now. Just
Yes,
exactly.
that would be
that's
great.
what I fucking want.
Yeah, about like, oh my god, look at these things he's buying and what he's doing.
Well, and he's obviously a crazy shithead, but he's also surrounded by people who just enable him because
Yeah.
he's making them money.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, you're just killing this guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You are allowing him to kill himself.
Yeah. Because
But yeah, so this movie, like every like emotional beat that they tried to get me to care about in this trailer, which just kind of made me mad because it was like
Yeah.
so obvious and like, fuck you,
Little
movie.
Yeah.
on the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you wouldn't make a movie about a guy just getting in a car crash and having enough money for healthcare and getting better. Like, yeah, that's a bad thing. It happens to you. It's bad. But it's not a movie.
No.
Like, your kid having a year-long drug addiction and you have enough resources to deal with it and he gets better. That's not a movie. Like, that is a thing that happens in a person's life that's
Right.
not, there's no dramatic weight
We
to
were
it.
talking about footnotes earlier. That's a footnote
Yeah.
in your life.
Yeah,
that's a part of the movie Boyhood.
Right, that's a part. Yeah, exactly. That's a part of a longer movie.
Yeah, I could not, like, honestly, at least the Marvel movie, like, looks like they put a lot of work into the visuals.
Right, and it's like
Yeah.
the first major superhero movie about a lady superhero.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait,
Well, no,
Woman.
Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, Wonder Woman. That's true.
Yeah.
Wonder
Yeah.
Woman.
But
It's okay.
it's still
It's the first
part
Mar-
of
it's the
that.
first Marvel
Yeah,
one.
first
It's the
Marvel.
first Marvel
Sure.
one. I'm
and
sorry.
Good on that.
But
Yeah.
so I'm just that's like something it has.
Yeah.
that this
is
movie-
just,
Right, and
More-
also this doesn't have Steve Carell punching an old lady, which
Sure doesn't.
No, and if that was the problem, if Steve
Yeah.
Carell had such a bad addiction that he
To
was just
punching old women.
Beating-
robbing old women for heroin,
Just
I'll watch that movie.
just hammering the Christ out of old ladies
Yeah.
so he
Yeah.
can steal their old handbags and buy himself some pills.
Or the other movie Steve Carell could be in for Oscar is just a shot-for-shot remake of Nightcrawler, but with him as the creepy sociopath.
him as Gyllenhaal.
Because I really want to see that. That's the only.
I feel like they should make Nightcrawler should be like the Joker, where they make like 6 versions of
Yeah.
that.
6 versions of
Yeah.
Because I want to
Nightcrawler.
see the Steve Carell version. Of
Yeah.
Nightcrawler.
Is he going for an Oscar? Is that what's happening?
Maybe.
What else?
I mean,
Yeah.
this movie is so
'Cause he's
it's
also
so
doing that,
heavy-handed. He's also
that-
doing Welcome to Marwen.
Yeah, he seems like he's doing a bunch of Oscar
Seems
movies.
like if they're actually open about like the guy's life and they really, rather than being like, because it sounds like from the trailer they're hiding the fact that it's a homophobic attack that like landed him in there.
They really bury that.
Like that seems like a good role for Steve Carell.
And by bury that, I mean it's not in the trailer at all.
Fantastic.
They're just like, oh, they were Nazis and beat
really
him up.
hope-
Well,
yeah,
there's.
I hope.
No.
I hope that'll be in the movie.
I hope so. It's weird to tell that story that you without saying that.
I'm wondering
It'd
if.
be deeply offensive to leave that.
Of course.
Well, I'm wondering if maybe this is me being optimistic that the reason they didn't is because maybe it just didn't work for the scenes they had versus the trailer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Like,
Yeah.
or maybe they're trying to withhold the attack scene to. I don't know.
Maybe they
we'll
wanna
watch it and find out.
Yeah, we'll watch it and discover the reason.
That's earned me watching it. I'm excited to see Marlin Call because it's a cool story. Steve Carell seems like the right person to play that role.
Yeah.
Like, or at least a good person to play that role.
This feels like it's almost wasting.
Yeah,
It's wasting
Carell.
everyone in it.
Yeah.
Because the kid is the kid from Call Me by Your Name.
yeah, clearly competent people involved.
Yeah, so it's like, but I mean, they have a scene where they're sitting down in the coffee shop, and Steve Carell says, like, "Who are you?" And says, "I'm me, Dad. This is who I am right here." And
God,
it's like,
yeah.
that's your writing.
Okay,
That's your writing, bro.
sounds like a teenager.
Yeah. Oh God.
Where's his jewel? Which, yeah,
Like the singer Jewel.
no. All the kids are smoking vaporizing jewel
Oh.
tobacco these days. That's just what kids do now.
Jesus.
Is they fucking take shitloads of tobacco and they don't have sex.
Yeah. That's fine.
Well, then
Start fucking, kids.
they also go shoot people.
Well,
Yeah, they shoot
no,
people
this is
sometimes.
America. Everybody shoots
That's
people.
true. Everyone
That's
shoots
true.
It is a
people.
proud tradition that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Beautiful Boy. It looks like trash and
Looks like, just
Yeah.
garbage.
no thanks.
All right. Well, speaking of fucking kids, no.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, that's good.
All right.
Jonathan H. Segue.
Roll with it.
Ryan Coogler is producing the Space Jam sequel. Kind of buried the lead there. There is
Yeah.
a Space Jam sequel.
Finally, officially confirmed.
Oh, is it LeBron James?
Yep.
Okay,
Of course
makes
it is.
sense. Yeah, sure,
I mean,
why
that's
not?
been the rumor for
Why
that's
not?
Yeah.
people have been
Let's-
making those photoshops
Yeah.
for 10 years
Yeah,
now.
I think they made like a promo video. I saw like on Twitter real quick of him like talking to Bugs Bunny. I'm not sure about that.
You know what?
They put out a picture of like the lockers and it's Bugs.
I saw the
Yeah.
locker picture.
It
Yeah.
seems like LeBron James spends his money really well, so I'm happy that he's getting a big paycheck. And
Yeah.
fine. Let's
I-
do it.
I
Maybe,
hope-
maybe he'll make more schools.
Yeah, he'll build another school.
Yeah.
I'm on board with this.
Yeah, this is all positive.
Yeah.
I wonder if man,
What?
doesn't matter. No, I was gonna say I wonder if Michael Jordan is gonna be in
He's
it.
got to have a
He's
cameo,
got to
right?
have a cameo,
He's
right?
gotta- he'll be
and
like-
maybe let's stick a Bill Murray in there because he was in the first.
Well, I'm
and,
assuming Michael Jordan will, at least for his gambling debts.
Oh, that's
I
true.
know what
Sorry,
Michael Jordan's
not
gonna
picking
do
on
in
Michael
this
Jordan.
movie is there's going to be a scene where LeBron James, because is James, he's still playing, right?
Mhm.
Okay, there's going to be some like
He just
workouts.
came to L.A.
Okay, well, I don't know sports, but there's going
That's
to be
fair.
there's going to be a scene where LeBron James is working out with the team or something, and Michael Jordan's going to roll by in a
On a Jonathan H. segue.
I was thinking like a convertible car or something.
Oh,
like
sure.
that, and he's going to look over and be like, "Whew, glad that's not me," and then like drive off.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want LeBron to find out that like this going in the Toonland, you give up your eternal soul, and he has to go to the top of a mountain to try to get it back, and like Red Skull style, there's like a hooded figure,
Oh, that's
and
Michael
it's
Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
But he's cartoon now.
Yeah,
He's animated.
Yes. Oh God.
Because
Yeah.
it's completely taken him over.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring this back to Nazis.
Yeah?
Which is why
Sure.
you guys brought me on
Sure.
today.
Sure.
You guys remember when Michael Jordan had a Hitler mustache, right? So,
Boy, do
What?
I.
what if traveling into Toontown, the road, the cosmic trip into Toonland, right? What if, in order to get through that, you have to cross through the aether where evil human souls depart, and Hitler's soul.
Oh, like
hitched
Event
it-
Horizon.
Yeah, and Hitler's soul came back on Michael Jordan and took him over. And the new Space Jam is they have to defeat Michael Jordan, who is Hitler, before he can rise to power and be a Nazi again.
And with he has a bunch of like all Hitler's generals are the cartoon characters. of
No,
his
it's
team.
just real
Monstars.
Nazis. It's real Nazis.
Okay.
Except for Michael Jordan and real Nazis.
This has gotten far
and
afield.
LeBron James has to, and
All
a
right.
team of Muppets.
They're Muppet-esque.
Okay,
They're
well,
cartoon.
Muppets.
No, I could see this.
It
I
could
think
work.
this will work.
It could
Yeah.
work.
It'll work. It's,
They should do something with it. They got to go somewhere with it. It can't just be a basketball game.
No, I think it can.
no, I
To
think
be-
it's
to be
going. I think it's
entirely
exactly
honest.
what it's going to
Okay.
be.
And
That's
why?
fair.
Like it
That's
was.
fair.
It was always a silly, cheap tie-in movie that just had because they happen to get a good quality group of people working on it. Was a fun movie, and if it's a fun movie again that's the same thing but updated for 2018, why not?
Yeah, have some
Now,
Nazis in there.
R. Kelly's involvement is dubious at this
Let's
point.
hope he's not still involved.
Oh no!
Oh God, what if it's just them teaming up to rescue? No.
No, don't.
I know where you're
Stop
going
you there.
with
We know where you're going. Nope.
Uh,
Let's close that door.
They should get back. What's his name? Wayne Knight.
Wayne Knight,
Yeah,
sure.
let's get
Yeah,
Wayne Knight
sure.
in there.
Fuck it.
Oh man, this is and it's fucking Ryan Coogler. Which,
Space- Yeah, he seems like the right guy. Space Jam's one of those rare movies I liked as a kid that I have no objection to just being remade.
yeah,
It's
no,
like,
you
yeah,
can can make a bunch of
Yeah,
them.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't be that precious about a movie begat by a commercial.
Yeah, it should just be every 20 years we get a new fucking Space Jam.
It would
Fine.
be like somebody being furious about an Ernest reboot.
Oh, there should be an Ernest
An
reboot.
Ernest reboot starring what's the guy? The smarmy guy who plays Deadpool. What's his fucking
Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, Ryan
I think
Reynolds
if-
could be Ernest.
I think if you make an Ernest remake, it's John Hawkes.
Oh,
He's in Deadwood.
He's
He's-
Deadwood.
he's
right?
When is he in Deadwood?
He's Bullock's partner.
Oh, he would be a great
Yeah.
Ernest.
Yeah.
Oh my
Well,
god.
I know there was talk of making a Son of Ernest, where like the Ernest estate was trying to get something going again. I don't think it worked out. There was like legal stuff around that.
Okay.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
an
We'll get
Ernest.
there. We'll get an Ernest reboot. What's next?
Speaking of
Deadwood?
no, we got a new director for the Bond film.
Oh, right.
It's Cary Fukunaga.
Fukunaga.
Okay.
Fukunaga, who he was the showrunner and directed a lot of True Detective. He did
The
Beast
first
of
season.
No first season. He did Beast of No Nation.
Well, okay then.
And he was the original director for It before he departed
Before
over
he-
creative differences.
Yeah, so it
He really
seems
wanted
good.
to film that child orgy.
Apparently.
that was his
He
sticking
was
point.
really hung up on that shit.
But yeah,
These kids are going to fuck!
We talked
Sorry,
about this
man.
with Bond. Bond
Can't
needs
happen.
to just sort of stop.
It does. Or like if you're going to hire...
I like Skyfall.
Yeah, but that was a
Well,
long time ago.
Was there
Yeah,
another
that's
one?
well. They did Spectre, which is
Oh, I
if
don't
you
remember that one.
Spectre
I know I
kind of
watched
like
it.
closes the chapter on the Daniel Craig stuff.
Okay.
And it was like a good ending, and it's like, okay, the band played that song everybody loved, everybody's filing out, we're going home, and the band comes back out like, who wants more? And everybody's like, hey, we're not feeling it.
We're pretty
wanna leave.
tired.
That's sort of what's happening is Daniel Craig is showing like very little enthusiasm
Yeah.
for it, but
I
they
don't
paid
want
him enough money.
anymore. I want more Bond. and
Yeah,
I-
more Bond is fine.
I-
Just they need to.
Well, it's weird.
segue into
It's
a new-
weird if you're gonna, because when Daniel Craig's been sort of over it, and then when this one seemed to be falling apart, everybody's like, Idris Elba, have Idris Elba play Bond, and then they
yeah,
get
have
the
Idris
guy
Elba
that
play
directed
Bond.
him in Beasts of No Nation.
Yeah.
So it's like,
have Idris
have
Elba.
Idris Elba do it. What are you doing?
Yeah.
That is the thing that would get me excited.
Right?
about fucking James Bond
Yeah.
is Idris Elba as James Bond because he's just really fucking smooth.
Yeah, he's
that's
the best.
that's the whole reason to watch James Bond is a very smooth motherfucker. Kill people and fuck other people, some of whom he will kill.
Yes.
Right.
That's what you want.
Whether accidentally or on purpose.
Yeah,
He-
fine.
He will kill some of the people he fucks.
Yeah, that's what I want is James Bond being sexy and then murdering people.
Yeah.
And Idris Elba seems like a great choice for that.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I want Layer Cake 2, but it's all him on dialysis because he got shot in the kidneys.
Mm.
And it's just a really gripping story about a man's battle with.
Right. It's a completely
Dialysis.
different kind of
I
movie.
watched the shit out of that.
It's
yeah.
like it's
Cole
like that. It's like
Meany is
that
visiting
movie.
him,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's like the film Awakenings. Nothing. All right. That was a really incredible joke. I want you guys. To
Okay.
but,
Okay, I believe you.
You know what's incredible is when Cole Meany beats the shit out of Daniel Craig in Layer Cake.
Yes.
One of the best beatdowns in any movie
It's so good.
I've ever seen.
Cole
Smashes
Meany
his skull in a freezer.
Beating the crap out of James Bond and a future James Bond.
and not artfully either, just like
No.
a real, like
It's a real Cole
in a real Cole Meany sort of way.
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect him to start kickboxing you. He's like, no, he's going to beat you up with things in the apartment.
Slam
Yeah.
your head into things until you don't move.
He's going to kill you with appliances.
Yeah. Ugh.
What's the next thing on the list?
This one, I don't know if we have to talk about it that much. I just think it's I mean, it's not surprising. Chevy Chase gave an interview recently where he just very bitterly and angrily talked about how he's like not getting any work and that everybody in SNL is unfunny and terrible. It's like, I wonder if those things are related.
I wonder if you being a giant asshole is connected at all to you not having a job.
One of the biggest prolapsed anuses ever.
He is. It's amazing that he is. I don't think he was acting for a second of his time in Community.
Mm-hmm.
No.
That's really remarkable.
Especially all the racist stuff.
Especially all the racist stuff.
His roast. Did you guys ever watch his Comedy Central roast?
No.
Because what had apparently happened, what I had heard, is that backstage before the roast, Chevy Chase came out, looked at like all the comedians, and was just like, "What the hell is this? This is a bunch of nobodies. Why don't I have like my friends here?" And like complain. So like nobody's happy. The roast is just people very legitimately like insulting Chevy
Well,
Chase.
it's again, it goes back to that son. Oh, all these people are trash, and nobody will work with me. It's like, well, and he comes out. How come none of my friends wanted to do this? Let's think about that, Chevy.
Exactly. That I will say, the roast of Chevy Chase has a very a great moment of it's pre Colbert Report. Colbert doing he goes up and roasts him, and he's so good. And you can see people in the eyes. The joke before he comes up is like, look at this nobody, Stephen Colbert, coming up here.
Yeah.
And then he just tears him apart, and it's a wonderful moment. Everybody should watch it.
Really lays into Funny Farms Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
Chevy Chase. I mean, I agree with him about Saturday Night Live. I'm not a big fan. But,
yeah, he calls out people who are like objectively funny, though. He's like, Will Ferrell, not funny. Tina Fey, she's not good. And it's just like, Chevy, you are so...
Chevy
just
man.
to be like, there were only 2 good years of SNL. No, dude, fucking Phil Hartman was on SNL.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Right. The late 80s, early 90s run when it was like Phil Hartman, Chris Farley, David Spade, Adam Sandler, John Lovitz.
All unfunny, apparently.
Yeah.
Chevy.
No, the fact that Chevy Chase is alive and Phil Hartman isn't is really depressing. Because Chevy Chase, I'm not going to say no.
You're not going to wish death upon Chevy Chase?
I don't wish death upon Chevy Chase, but I wish his remaining
Would you
life
have traded?
On Phil... Yes, in a heartbeat. For fucking another 10 seasons of Lionel Hutz?
Oh, yeah, Lionel Hutz.
God damn it.
For him to actually voice Zach Brannigan.
I was about to say, he was... Yeah.
That's clearly who that character's supposed to be.
No, and fucking... Was that Billy West who wound up doing him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a great...
He's doing a Phil Hartman impression,
Zach Brannigan's
it's
fantastic, but yeah. Anyway.
Yep.
All right. Well,
Chevy Chase is garbage.
Yeah. They're making a live-action Netflix adaptation of The Last Airbender, which
good.
M. Night Shyamalan
also
took a crack
did
at.
about 10 years ago, I guess.
Yeah, and that was... I know nothing about the original cartoon, or it's a comic too.
I think so.
I know nothing. So when I saw the Shyamalan one, I was probably high and delighted by it.
Sure.
I was like, look at all the pretty colors, and like they're throwing around like fire and shit. And it was like nice to see a cast that wasn't all white people. And it was like, this is fine. And then fans hated it, and I think for good reason. Like, I don't know anything about the cartoon.
I've not seen the movie, and I've not seen the cartoon.
Okay.
I know almost nothing about this show.
I lived with a guy who loved it and watched it a couple of times, and I caught it that way. It was never my full attention. It was usually on while I was working or something.
Sure.
But I enjoyed what I saw of it, and I understand why people are so devoted to it.
Okay.
It seems like the kind of show that you can't do live action because...
Aren't they all like elementals or something?
Yeah, and everything they do, when you make it CGI, it makes it look cheap and tawdry.
Right.
And when you animate it, it's really exciting and beautiful.
Yeah.
I think I know how I can relate to this, as I'm a very big Aeon Flux fan, and they're making a new live-action Aeon Flux series. And that's a series... Did you know that they're making a...
We got all we needed from Aeon Flux out of the cartoon series.
Yes, exactly.
But then they made that film. And they made that movie.
I love that series. It's so fucking weird, and it's crazy.
They all kiss like mosquitoes.
Yeah, they all are like skeletons with flesh on them.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It's so good. I
that
love.
show is psychotic,
and it's so the plots were very Twilight Zone-y.
Yeah, nothing like that's ever been made.
Yeah, like the third episode of that series, Aeon Flux dies and is replaced by a clone, and then the series just continues.
Yeah,
that's never really talked about. It's so fucking weird.
Yeah,
I love it.
Like
I thought remembered her dying in several episodes.
In the shorts, the Liquid Television
the
shorts
shorts.
that came before the TV
Oh,
series,
okay.
she dies at the end of every one.
Oh, okay.
And that was a fun. They did one that was just her falling to her death, like a 3-minute animation short of just her falling and like having to try to figure out what to do about it.
My favorite tidbit is that's Klasky Suko, right? It's the Rugrats guy.
Yeah, it's the guy who created Rugrats, which
Yeah.
if you look at the two
Yep, you can
side to
tell.
side, you're like, oh yeah, that is the same animation.
Yep.
But like that show, can't be live action because live action doesn't do the visuals justice.
You can't. It's hard to do that level of surrealness.
Yeah, it'd have to look.
You can't.
it
It's
would-
either bad CGI or it looks real, but some things look cheap and gross when they look real.
Yeah. Yeah, you could do you could try to make photorealistic, grotesque versions of the people in it or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like if you did a photorealistic CGI Rugrats show.
Yeah,
It would look like a nightmare.
Greenlit.
A nightmare kaleidoscope.
Greenlit.
yeah,
Greenlit. Robert Rodriguez does Rex. Let's just see.
sure.
Sure.
Just see
Fuck
what
it.
happens.
Fuck it.
I'll be into
He
that.
can have Danny Trejo as all the adults.
Yeah, it's like a lot of animation though. You can't do a live action Simpsons because it's like that's not what the Simpsons are.
No.
Yeah.
That's why the live action Flintstones is kind of a horrifying film.
No.
to me.
It makes me wonder if
Do
in
a
like
best bad
60
movie
years
on this one,
somebody's
please.
gonna. Well,
I
okay.
will defend.
I will catch-
both Flintstones.
I will catch that gauntlet you've just thrown
Yes.
Both the Flintstones
You heard it here, everybody.
and the whatever. Rock Vegas is in it.
down. Viva Rock
Viva Rock
Vegas.
Vegas.
Rock Vegas.
You'll do both movies. You'll defend both of
When
those films.
Stephen Baldwin takes over for Rick Moranis.
I have always thought that Steve Ball was the only man who
Stevie Ball.
could
Correctly
lace up
portray.
Rick Moranis's high water pants.
Oh no,
Yeah, whatever Rick Moranis wears.
that's wonderful.
Probably pretty
Good
close.
movies.
Oh my God.
All right, I'm going to move on to the final
Move on to the final
bit
thing.
of news, which is actually, I think, probably the most exciting for most people,
Sure.
is that they're making a bunch of fucking spin-off series for Marvel characters like Loki and Scarlet Witch, played by the actual actors, like
His TV shows?
as TV shows
Yeah, for
on
their-
Disney's streaming.
They're for Disney's new streaming.
So there's going to be
service.
like a Tom Hiddleston?
Tom Hiddleston.
Isn't he? Well, I
Hiddleston?
guess he's just not quite big enough that he'll do TV.
Well, the thing,
I don't know.
TV's kind of the thing now.
Yeah, it is. And here's the thing is that it's not guaranteed yet. This is just what they want.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if they're like, look, we're going to make a Loki show. You can either be in it or you can not. And we'll get some other jackass to play you.
Yeah.
And stick a Snape wig on you. And
Mm-hmm.
But
Give him that Snape wig.
yeah. Just go down to the Halloween outlet. Stick it on some
Give us
fucking
all your
British
Snapes.
actor.
He can play fucking. I don't know what else Tom Hiddleston does.
What has he? What else?
Probably
has,
Sherlock Holmes.
Warhorse.
Warhorse. Okay.
The Night Manager. He was in the discussion as a possible Bond follow-up as well.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
No. See, he can't be James Bond.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, this is a good solution to Marvel. Clearly not. I mean, they should have made a Black Widow film, and they never did.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
And like Scarlet Witch, they didn't give her a film. They're finally doing Captain Marvel, but like, there's a lot of like fan favorite side characters, and they're just like, here you go,
He's
have a fucking TV show.
7 hours
Sure.
of streaming television.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Which-
not bad.
that's actually the pretty good deal, isn't
Pretty
it?
good trade-off. I'd take that.
Yeah.
But it's going to be on Disney's new streaming channel, which is the catch.
Yeah.
Well, everything will be soon because Disney's going to buy
Yes,
everything that they don't currently
that's
own.
a good point. Is that Disney's new streaming channel might be a good thing to subscribe to,
Right, because they just
have
bought
us all.
That's where the
hostage.
Simpsons are going to be.
Yeah, they have successfully won.
And you know what? If I can
And
just...
all it took was tens of billions of dollars.
Yes.
It's all, yes. All it took was more money than most nations of this world have never seen.
All it took was the collective GDP of sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even more than that.
This isn't on this, but I just remembered another Disney related thing. Did you hear that they're winding down Star Wars? They're not going to do one every year like they originally
Good.
said, apparently.
Really?
Yeah,
Good.
apparently they realized their mistake.
Their horrible,
Where they're
horrible mistake.
Where they came out with a press release like, you're going to get Star Wars shoved down your fucking throat for the rest of your life. And now they're just like, okay, maybe not. Maybe we'll calm down about
Yeah.
that.
Should have been one every 3 years from the start.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have time to reshoot it if it turns out to be a ghastly mess.
Mm-hmm.
Better yet, you have time to write it.
Yes.
Well, let's not be that up. This is Disney.
So you don't reshoot it.
That was
Can you imagine what a disaster it would be if some scrappy young filmmaker with a shoestring budget filmed a Star Wars movie without major studio influence, with just a team of other people who cared about making a good movie, and none of whom had, what a mess that would be. Can you imagine the disaster of a Star Wars movie not made by a corporation?
I can. We have a few examples, for better or worse.
Man. Okay.
But yeah.
So I think this is the best segue, because speaking of Star Wars movies,
Oh yeah.
Oh God, another.
my next movie that deserves more hype
Movie that deserves more hype.
has been compared to Star Wars. As
Oh,
an indie Star
no,
Wars
I am
movie.
hyped about
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
What's it called? Prospect?
Prospect.
That looks fucking great.
This movie
Yes.
looks really good.
Really
Poster's
fucking
great.
cool.
If you haven't seen the poster yet.
I'm basking in the fact that it was the first, I don't know how long it's been since I've seen a really good trailer where I know I want to see the movie and I have no idea what it's fully about.
Right.
I know
Right.
a couple of things that are, but I don't know what this movie is.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I know I want to see it, and I can't remember the last time I saw a trailer like that.
This it debuted at South by Southwest. It's supposedly coming out around November, beginning of November.
Cool.
Called
cool.
Prospect. There's a trailer. It's got an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, 100% with audiences who I
Great.
think saw it at South by Southwest.
I
Damn.
don't trust anything with higher than 80% from
And-
critics.
Critics. Yeah.
One of the reviews said, if anything, this is what the standalone Star Wars movies should feel like. That's one of the
Yeah.
reviews. They compare it to a Clint Eastwood Western.
I got a bit of that from it. Yeah.
God, yeah,
Yeah.
because it does feel like a Western, and the guns are clearly meant to hearken while still
Yeah.
being futuristic to seem like they could be.
Yeah.
This is a
I love that everybody needs to be in Atmos suits.
yes.
That looks because that's such a cool thing to play with. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you
So-
get tension out of that.
Apparently, this is a treasure hunting thriller film.
Sort of. Yeah.
And
They're.
It's on a alien planet.
Yeah.
Sure,
They touch down. We have. I think it's Jay Duplass, and this
I didn't
like-
recognize anybody.
Yeah.
this like
it is-
teenage
it
girl
is-
that's
yeah.
with him.
is the guy?
The main guy, Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, that is the guy who was is he the guy who was Game of Thrones? Was
Yep.
this okay?
Yeah.
I
He
was a
really
Red
like
Viper.
That guy.
He was
a Red Viper. Yeah, he was awesome.
All right. He's the right dude to play a desperado.
Yeah, they land on this planet. They're looking for some type of resource that comes from an alien.
Which is
Right.
it looks like
looks
like
like
bugs
amber.
and amber.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's clearly some sort of bug type thing.
And then Pedro Pascal shows up and basically holds them up and clearly
Kills one of them.
kills the man. So he's just got this teenage girl with him, and they're like, okay, well, let's work together because we both want this thing.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and that's such a Western character where it's like it's kind of a bad guy, but you're like
but they're working.
together
Yeah.
because they have the same goal.
And it seems like a planet where it seems like there's a bunch of different people in a bunch of different parts of space
Mhm.
with spaceships, and like different people from different groups come to this planet to mine it. So like you've got a real Old West feel. Like
Yeah.
it's just this fucking place in the wilderness that some people have come to, and
Yeah.
some of them can't get away again, and some of them.
Yeah, it just
ship.
clicked with me. It's got a little bit of Treasure of the Sierra Madre
Yeah.
because Humphrey Bogart pairs up with that other guy in the beginning, even though like Bogart's
Right.
more of like a fucking villain, and this guy's just like, well, we just want some money.
It's also got a little True Grit in there.
a little bit of True Grit, yeah.
This looks really cool.
It looks so good.
I'm really on board with everything I'm seeing.
Yeah, everybody should look at the trailer and look
Yeah.
up the poster, because again, the poster is really cool.
I love those Evo suits. They look like the Evo suits from the first Alien.
Yeah,
They're just like big and
Worn
creepy, and
gritty,
yeah.
I'll tell you the one. This is the one downer, which is how it's being released. I think it has a theatrical run or a limited release, but I just found this quote from Variety, and it's just such a bummer 2018 quote. Prospect will digitally premiere on Singular DTV's blockchain-enabled VOD platform in 2019, following its theatrical run. So it does have a theatrical run. I don't know what a blockchain-enabled... I know VOD is video on demand.
It's Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It's Bitcoin.
So that's just such a... It's just like, oh, Netflix, get in here, will you?
Somebody
Somebody
get this thing some
purchase-
air, because it looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
really fucking
Well, it was
good.
like what happened with Mandy this past week, where Mandy was like, it played in like 2 theaters around town, and then
Yeah.
it was on Amazon.
Mandy is something you really
You need to see Mandy.
What's it about?
It's Nick Cage versus an evil cult in the woods.
Imagine Nicolas Cage having a chainsaw fight.
What?
Yeah,
but it's like a really gorgeous, surreal movie.
that's the other. The first half of the movie is like Nicolas Cage actually acting and being like somewhat subdued, and it's like a very atmospheric, like not boring, but like a very like slower moving thing, and then it just goes directly off the rails.
Hour 2 is drive angry Nicolas Cage.
There is a tiger
going like, you tore my shirt.
So I
oh, you tore my shirt. Oh shit, I forgot that part.
Give me an idea of what kind of Nicolas Cage is going into this movie. Is this flush with cash Nicolas Cage, or is this just had to mortgage his Tyrannosaur head Nicolas Cage?
I think this is believed in the project.
Yes,
Nicolas
I think
Cage.
this is
Oh my
Nicolas-
god!
Yeah, this is Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
This is Nicolas Cage for a while. Like I said, he acts in the beginning.
Yeah.
My God.
And that's what makes it so much jarring. We're halfway through. He's still acting, but he suddenly just becomes a maniac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he becomes it's a Nicolas Cage we recognize more. There's a part where he's just covered in blood, snorting cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
It's
his natural habitat.
Yeah.
That is the ocean is to a beluga whale.
There's a
Covered in
portion
blood.
there's a portion of the film where he is in the tidiest of whiteys, drinking liquor straight from the bottle and crying.
Yes. It's like a montage. It's like a jump cut montage of him slowly finishing this one bottle.
Yeah, in a single shot.
In a
It's a
single
single take. We're
Oh,
let's
yeah,
not-
it is.
We're not. We won't spoil it anymore. But Mandy was a movie that deserved more hype that we featured
Yeah.
several weeks ago. It's on. You can rent it now on Amazon. And
Yeah.
it's fucking
I'm
great.
just imagining behind the scenes them being like, no, Nicholas, we actually have a bottle of fake liquor for you to. Oh, he
Never
started.
mind. He
Oh,
brought his
okay,
own.
roll
He brought his
cameras.
own.
Oh my
So good.
god.
He makes an axe.
He makes an axe.
He makes like a Warhammer axe.
Yeah.
Like it's a crazy
There are
fantasy battle
multiple.
axe.
See, I wanna
No, there are
see-
multiple props in this that look like it belongs to Guar.
See, the way you said he made an axe makes me want the movie We Bought a Zoo, but with Nicolas
He made an
Cage.
axe.
He made an axe. There are
But he's got a family.
Yeah, so
English
family.
dad.
All these kids talking about dad made an axe.
right.
It begins with narration. 1963 was the summer of a lot of things. It was the summer of, when Bonnie and Clyde it was taking over the theaters, and the summer of Coke available in glass bottles. And it was also the summer that Dad made an axe.
I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah. I want that movie. 190 minutes.
It's on 3 VHSs.
Oh man,
That is the only way we will see.
Right. It's only on VHS.
you have to buy a VCR.
Yes.
We will not provide one. We're not sure they're available anymore.
This is how we film.
Yeah.
He made an axe.
Oh my god.
So,
All
yeah.
right.
Looking forward to that film that deserves more hype.
Looking forward
Yeah.
to watching fucking Prospect.
Prospect was
Prospect
great.
and everybody should see Mandy as well.
Yeah, Mandy's great.
That
But-
might be. I go sober. No, that I'm gonna be drunk while I watch that, but that's gonna be fun to watch.
It is.
Mandy?
No.
Prospect.
Prospect.
Yeah.
I
Prospect
had-
will be fun.
It looks like the first thing in fucking 15 years that's gonna scratch my Firefly itch, because I want
does
to meet
have a
some
bit-
cowboys in space.
Yeah.
It has a bit of a
I
Firefly. to it.
I watched Deadwood to get that recently. Is how it does. I'm watching actual westerns now, just pretending they're spaceships.
Yeah, if you squint.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just make spaceship noises while
Yeah.
you're watching Deadwood.
Whenever they get on a horse.
Just like, just make the TIE fighter noise.
When we have a gunfight, just go. Pew, pew.
All right. Well, that's an episode.
Robert, do you have things to plug for us today?
No.
I feel like you might.
I feel like you do. You have like a show.
I feel like you have
Yeah.
a wonderful podcast.
Yeah, I have a podcast called Behind the Bastards. It's about bad people.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about Alex Jones for 4 hours. If you want to
It is. I'm just finishing up the 3-parter Alex Jones.
So there was an Alex Jones
It is
trilogy
it
this
is
week.
the Lord of the Rings podcasting. It is wonderful.
I
Everybody
like that
needs to
so
watch
much.
or listen to it.
You'll have to do a sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll have to Hobbit that shit.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna Hobbit Alex Jones. Which I think is
Sounds
his
like a
greatest
weird
fear.
threat.
Yeah, I'm gonna Hobbit, you son of a bitch.
They're trying to Hobbit me.
You can find me on Twitter. I write okay, and those are the only places you can find me.
He
Okay.
literally exists in no other
And you
spectrum.
can find him on an upcoming Best Bad movie where he will defend the Flintstones movies.
Oh, you're damn right. I'll defend the Flintstones.
I'm very much
Has
looking
to
forward to that
happen.
episode.
Belligerently.
Yeah.
Hands will be thrown.
Yeah.
Alex Jones style.
Yeah. None
I
of
will
us.
be, I will
none
be
of us-
shirtless and screaming at
None
you.
of us will be wearing shirts by the end of that episode.
Oh, shit.
All right. Well, thanks for doing this, Robert.
Yeah. Thanks
All right.
for having me on.
Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can follow him on Twitter at @thecorlew, CORLEW, and find more music at shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our artwork is produced by Justin Brown. You can follow him on Twitter at @JustinTBrown, and find more of his artwork at artnessbyjustinbrown.com and justinbrown.info. Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.